My name is Evelyn Hart. I am 30 years old. And 3 weeks before I was supposed to marry Adrian Cole, I canceled the wedding. Honestly, I should have done it months earlier. For the first time he showed me that my feelings were less important to him than keeping another woman close. Adrian was 28. We had been together for 3 years, and engaged for 1. He was confident, charming, and always able to control a room without raising his voice. That confidence was one of the first things I loved about him. But during wedding planning, it hardened into something colder. Every disagreement became proof that I was difficult. Every boundary became something he could laugh at. 2 months before the wedding, we were sitting at our kitchen table, reviewing the guest list. My laptop was open between us, surrounded by invitation samples and unpaid invoices. Adrian scrolled through the names and spoke without looking at me. "I'm inviting Natalie." I stopped writing. "Natalie who?" He finally looked up. "Natalie Pierce. My ex?" The room seemed to tighten around me. Adrian and Natalie had dated for 4 years. They broke up 3 years earlier after he discovered that she had been emotionally involved with a coworker named Henry. Strangely enough, she later married Henry. Adrian had always described that chapter of his life as painful but finished. "Why would your ex-girlfriend be at our wedding?" I asked. "Because we're friends now." "Since when?" "We grab coffee sometimes." The pen slipped from my fingers and struck the table. 3 years together. And he had never once mentioned meeting Natalie for coffee. "You've been seeing her." "Seeing her," he laughed. "Listen to yourself. We drink coffee. We talk. That's all. I'm not comfortable having your ex at our wedding." His expression changed. The warmth disappeared first. Then came the smirk. "Seriously, Evaine, grow up about it. I'm not being childish. You're jealous of ancient history. If it's ancient history, why does she need to be there?" "Because she's part of my journey. She helped shape who I am. And I'm supposed to celebrate that while marrying you." He leaned back and folded his arms. "This is insecurity. Not a boundary." "It is a boundary." He actually laughed. "Boundaries. Please. Natalie is coming. Deal with it." That moment should have ended everything. Instead, I stared at the man I planned to marry and felt something inside me become very still. "You know what I said." "You're right. That's perfectly fine." His eyebrows rose, then he smiled. Satisfied. "See, maturity. I knew you'd come around." That night, while Adrian slept beside me, I searched for Natalie online. Her profile said, "Separated." Her recent posts mentioned new beginnings, painful truths, and learning to choose herself. Comments from friends offered support during her difficult season. Then, I found Henry. His last public post was 3 months old. "Sometimes love is not enough when trust keeps being broken." I read that sentence several times. The following afternoon, I sent Henry a message. "Hello. I'm Evelyn, Adrian Cole's fiancée. This may sound strange, but I would like to invite you personally to our wedding. Adrian has invited Natalie. Since you are still legally her husband, I thought it would be respectful to include you." He read it that evening. He did not respond for 2 days. Then a message appeared. "Is Natalie definitely attending? Adrian invited her himself." I answered. "Does he know you invited me?" "Not yet. I wanted to ask you first." Henry replied after several minutes. "Interesting. Let me think about it." A week later, he asked to meet. We chose a quiet cafe across town. Henry looked nothing like the jealous, unstable husband Adrian later described. He was calm, polite, and exhausted in a way that sleep could not fix. "Why did you really invite me?" he asked. I wrapped both hands around my coffee. Adrian insisted on inviting Natalie. When I objected, he told me to grow up. I decided that if he could invite anyone he wanted, so could I. Henry gave a short, bitter laugh. "He's still in love with her." My stomach tightened. "What?" The coffee meetings weren't just coffee. He placed his phone on the table and opened a folder of screenshots. There were messages from Adrian to Natalie. I miss how easy everything felt with you. Sometimes I think you were the person I was supposed to choose. Natalie had replied. You still can. After the wedding, things will be different. I looked up. After my wedding, Henry's voice softened. My guess is, Adrian wants the ceremony first. The attention. The gifts. The security. Then he plans to reconnect with her properly. Natalie has been telling him she married the wrong person. Those messages are why we separated. For several seconds, I heard nothing but the milk steamer behind the counter. The man I loved had called me insecure while secretly building a future with someone else. I did not confront him immediately. I carried the truth for 3 days. Watching Adrian discuss floral arrangements, seating charts, and honeymoon upgrades, as though he had not already placed another woman inside our marriage. At dinner, I finally said, I added someone to the guest list. He kept eating. Who? Henry Pierce. Adrian nearly choked on his wine. What? Natalie's husband. They're separated. They're still married. His face reddened. Why would you invite him? You said Natalie was part of your journey. Henry is part of hers. It's all connected. Right. This is different. How? You don't even know him. You're inviting a woman you secretly meet for coffee. I think we stopped requiring close friendships. Uninvite him. No. He stared at me as though I had broken an unspoken rule. You're being petty. I'm being inclusive. Henry hates Natalie. You told me everyone should be mature about old relationships. Adrian pushed away from the table and left the apartment. When he returned an hour later, anger had been replaced by tears. You're ruining our wedding. He said, Henry hates me. Why would he hate you? Natalie is ancient history. He looked away. Unless there's something you haven't told me. He's always been jealous. Jealous of what? Adrian. He could not answer without confessing. 2 days later, Natalie messaged me for the first time. Inviting Henry was cruel. You're putting everyone in an awkward position, I replied. Nobody is forcing you to attend. Adrian's mother called next. Evaine. Sweetheart. This Henry situation needs to be resolved. What situation? Adrian and Natalie have history. That's exactly why I questioned her invitation. They're friends now. It's healthy. Then Henry and I can become friends too. She sighed sharply. You don't know that man. I know him better than I knew Adrian was meeting Natalie. She ended the call. Meanwhile, Adrian told our mutual friends that I was trying to humiliate him by inviting his ex-girlfriend's husband. He conveniently forgot to mention that he had invited Natalie first. People began taking sides until I forwarded the original guest list with timestamps. The questions shifted toward Adrian. Why did Natalie matter so much? Why had he hidden their meetings? Why was Henry's presence threatening if nothing inappropriate had happened? Then, Adrian placed a printed venue contract in front of me. My name is primary. He said, if you don't uninvite Henry, I'll cancel the wedding. I studied him carefully. You would cancel our marriage over Natalie's husband attending. I don't want to cancel. I want you to stop being stubborn. No. You want me to prove that you can threaten me and still get what you want? The following night, Henry called. His voice was unsteady. Evan. Natalie and I are trying to work things out. She finally admitted everything. But Adrian sent her another message yesterday. My fingers went cold. What did it say? He told her he's been thinking about their first dance. We already chose our first dance song. He wasn't talking about dancing with you. They plan to request their old song at your reception. I stared at my wedding dress, hanging across the room. In that moment, I understood the truth. Adrian had not invited his past to witness our future. He had invited her there to begin their next chapter in front of me. I did not confront Adrian that night. Instead, I stood in front of my wedding dress and studied the lace sleeves I had spent 3 months choosing. I tried to imagine walking toward him, while Natalie sat among our guests, waiting for the moment she could step onto my dance floor and reclaim him. By morning, my sadness had hardened into clarity. The venue contract was in Adrian's name, but I had paid the $3,000 non-refundable deposit. I called the coordinator and calmly explained that I would not be attending my own wedding, since Adrian was the primary contract holder. Any decision about the venue would now be his responsibility. The catering contract was in my name. I canceled it and recovered 70% of my deposit. The photographer was my cousin, Olivia. When I told her what had happened, she went silent. "I can cancel," she said. "Or I can still go if he tries to hold the event." "Go," I replied. "Document whatever he chooses to celebrate." The DJ was an old college friend. He laughed bitterly when I explained Adrian's plan. "I never trusted him," he said. "Consider the music cancelled." Then I returned to our apartment. The lease was in my name. Adrian had moved in 18 months earlier and never contributed to the deposit. While he was at work, I packed everything he owned: his clothes, shoes, books, gaming equipment, framed photographs, and the expensive watch I had given him for our anniversary were placed neatly into boxes across the living room. I did not damage anything. I did not throw anything into the street. I wanted him to see that this was not rage. It was a decision. Adrian came home shortly after 6. He froze in the doorway. "What is all this?" "Your belongings." His eyes moved toward the empty spaces on the walls. "Why are they packed? The wedding is off." He laughed once, as though he had misheard me. "You can't cancel our wedding." "I didn't." "You did when you planned to dance with Natalie to your old song at our reception." His face lost all color. "How did you find out?" "Henry." Adrian's mouth tightened. "He's trying to destroy us." "No. He and Natalie are trying to save their marriage." That struck him harder than anything else. "They're reconciling, because Natalie finally admitted what the two of you were doing." He stepped closer. "Evain, listen to me. It wasn't what you think. Your messages were very clear. You read my private messages." Natalie showed them to Henry. Henry showed them to me. His shock turned into fury. "She betrayed me." I almost laughed. "You were planning to betray 2 people at once. And you're offended that she chose her husband." His eyes filled with tears. "I love you. You love what I provide. Stability. A home. A wedding. Someone dependable enough to marry, while you chase excitement somewhere else." "That's not true." "Then explain why you told Natalie things would change after the wedding." He looked toward the boxes and whispered, "She promised me something." "What did she promise?" Silence stretched between us. "To leave Henry after you were safely married to me," I asked. Adrian said nothing. That silence was his confession. "You need to leave." "Where am I supposed to go?" "That is no longer my problem. You're throwing away 3 years." "No. I'm refusing to throw away 30. He called his mother. Diane arrived less than an hour later, already angry before she stepped inside. "You're really doing this 1 week before the wedding?" she demanded. "Your son planned to begin an affair at our reception." "That is a disgusting accusation." I opened my phone and showed her one message. "After I marry Evelyn, she won't watch me so closely. We'll finally have more time." Diane read it twice. Her face changed. She looked at Adrian. "Is this real?" He stared at the floor. "Adrian, it was taken out of context." "What possible context makes this acceptable?" For the first time, his mother sounded less angry with me than ashamed of him. They loaded his boxes into her car. Before leaving, Adrian turned back toward me. "You'll regret humiliating me." "I didn't humiliate you," I said. "I stopped protecting you from the consequences of your choices." The wedding day arrived beneath a cloudless sky. Adrian could not recover the venue deposit, so he refused to cancel. According to mutual friends, he turned the event into what he called a celebration of independence, 12 people attended. The ballroom had been prepared for 150. Olivia sent me photographs with my permission. Empty tables covered in white linen. Untouched centerpieces. A silent dance floor beneath strings of lights. Adrian arrived, wearing the suit, meant for our ceremony. Later. He changed into a white jacket and posed alone near the head table, trying to look defiant. In one photograph, he was sitting with his face in his hands. Natalie was not there. She and Henry were attending a marriage counseling retreat that weekend. A week later, Henry sent me a message. "I wanted to thank you. Inviting me forced everything into the open." Natalie had to confront what she was doing. And I had to decide whether our marriage was worth saving. We aren't fixed. But we're finally honest. You saved my marriage by refusing to become invisible in yours. Natalie contacted me too. "I owe you an apology." Adrian made me feel like I was 24 again. Before bills, disappointment, and responsibility. I confused nostalgia with love. When Henry was invited, I realized I was about to destroy 2 relationships for an illusion. I replied, "I hope you both make choices you can live with." Then I blocked her. Adrian began telling people that I had manipulated the entire situation. He claimed I invited Henry to provoke him and deliberately ruined the wedding. But the messages existed. The timestamps existed. The original guest list existed. His own friend Marcus eventually called me. "I should have warned you," he said. "Adrian talked about Natalie for months. He said you were safe. But she made him feel alive. Why didn't you say anything?" I thought it was just stupid talk. It stopped being stupid when he built a plan around it. The financial loss was painful. Between deposits, invitation, alterations, and travel arrangements, I lost almost $8,000. But a divorce would have cost more. 3 years were gone. And that hurt more than the money. I started therapy because I no longer trusted my own judgment. I kept replaying every conversation, wondering which moments had been real and which had simply been convenient for him. My therapist asked me what I had learned. I told her that when someone says grow up in response to a reasonable boundary, they are not asking for maturity. They are asking for permission. Adrian wanted permission to disrespect me without consequences. Inviting Henry began as retaliation. I admit that. But it exposed something honesty never would have threatened. If Adrian had nothing to hide, Henry's presence would not have terrified him. My mother put it more simply. He was testing how much humiliation you would tolerate before marriage. She said, "You disappointed him by choosing yourself." Henry and I remained friends. But nothing romantic ever happened between us. He was repairing his marriage, and I was repairing my sense of self. Occasionally, he sent photographs of his rescue dogs, or terrible animal jokes from his veterinary clinic. Adrian moved back in with his parents. He posted vague quotes about betrayal, fake love, and women who destroy good men. Natalie blocked him after recommitting to Henry. People sometimes ask whether I regret the empty venue, the lost money, or the way everything ended. I regret only that I mistook dismissal for confidence and control for strength. The empty chairs were not evidence that my wedding had failed. They were proof that I escaped before the marriage began. $8,000 was an expensive lesson, but it was still cheaper than spending my life as Adrian's safe choice, while he waited for someone more exciting to return.